How's everybody doing? Tinkering with Harleys. Well, first I want to thank everybody who subscribed. It's great. I keep watching the subscriber numbers grow, and I want to thank you for the comments and the questions. They're all good. You know, the questions are great. They're legitimate questions, and the comments are they tell me that you guys like what I'm doing or you don't like what I'm doing, which is going to bring me to today's topic. Now, last video I did was on oil changes and things like that. And I happened to mention on the older twin cams that they had the spring-loaded tensioners for the timing chain and for the cam tensioner. And I got a number of questions and inquiries on the spring-loaded cam tensioners. Now, I know a lot of guys and girls still run these things. There's nothing wrong with them. They work. They require more maintenance than the hydraulic, but they do work, so a lot of people still use them. And as I said in the last video, they need to be checked more often. Harley Davidson recommends you check them at 20,000 or change them at 20,000. Now, my 2000 Deuce, which is the blue one in the background, when I bought that one, that had the spring tensioners in it. Now, I already knew about the spring tensioners. Harley Davidson started running these twin cams in '99, and they ran these spring cams, or these spring tensioners, from '99 to 2006, with the exception of the 2006 Dyna. That's the first hydraulic tensioners that Harley had used. And I also said some other things like on the twin cam, that's first internal oil pump and that Harley had ever used. The gear works on the Evos and shovels and pans. All the gear work was inside underneath the cam cover, but the pump itself was on the outside. The oil pump is completely on the inside of the engine now on the twin cams and the M8s. So when I was saying this was new, it was new at the time. I mean, we're talking about 23 years later, but at the time it was a brand new concept. So today I figured I'd cover it a little bit on the spring tensioners for the timing chain and for the cams. And I'm going to show you examples of them. Now I've got two right here. These are old ones, but I'm going to take them over to the bench and show you on the bench where we can get a better look at them. Now what we have here side by side is the spring tensioners for the timing chain and the cam. Now this side is the new side. These are the old ones. Now, if you look at these were changed at approximately 15,000 miles. And you can see where they're grooved out. And you can see the wear in them. And here is a new one with no wear. These are brand new. They've not been used. So, and this is why Harley recommends you change them at 20,000 miles. Now, I've heard of them lasting longer than this. But what happens with these is when they wear down so far, chunks of them break off. And if they break off and go through your motor, you're going to be replacing your motor, either getting a whole new motor or rebuilding the one you have, because they get through everything and they absolutely destroy the motor. So that's the drawback on these. The hydraulic ones that they use now, which I do not have any on hand to show you, they're good for about 50,000 miles. So it requires less maintenance, and that's why a lot of people have gone to the hydraulics. But I know there's still a fair amount of you out there that do have these spring tensioners. And if you've bought a new bike, that's an older bike, it's between a 99 and 2006. This is one of the things you need to be looking at when you get the bike to make sure they're not looking like this or worse. And believe me, I've seen them look worse. I've seen them come apart and go through an engine, and they do destroy the engine. Now, if you're going to change these, you do need a special tool, and that is this right here. Now, you can get one of these on Amazon. I've had this a long time, and I don't remember what I paid for it, but it's specifically designed to take the tension off of these. Now, I'm not going to show you today, depending on, how much of a response I get to this video. I'll go ahead and show you how to take this apart and how to change them. But that's pretty much the difference. They're not real hard to change, but you should check them at about 15,000 miles. What the tensioners look like, the spring-loaded ones. And like I said, they were run in the twin cams from 1999 to 2006, with the exception of the Dyna. The 2006 Dyna was hydraulic, and from 2007 up, everything was hydraulic. So if you have an older bike, and as most of you who watch this channel know, I deal mostly with older bikes. I really don't do much with the newer ones. And there's some little tips, if you're wondering if somebody has been in your inside the cam case, and depending on the mileage on the bike. I mean, I've seen bikes that are 20 years old that only have like 8,000 miles on them. That's not the case with mine. I mean, I changed mine over at around 40, 50,000 miles, but I ran those spring-loaded cam tensioners for a long time, 50,000 miles before I went over to the hydraulic. And the only reason I went over to the hydraulic was I did some engine work to it. So I had everything apart. And also, when you get up around 50,000 miles, you need to be checking your oil pump, because oil pumps, the stock Harley oil pumps, they have a tendency to go out anywhere from 50,000 to 70,000 miles. Again, it's not the rule of thumb. Some of them last longer. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you, if you've just picked up a new bike, a new old bike, and you want to know if somebody's been in the cam chest, I'm going to show you how you can check that. Now, as you can see in this one picture, if you look at the push rod tubes, the slide for the top is high. Now, if you look at this picture where the push rod tubes have been changed, the slide is halfway down. If you see that, that tells you somebody has changed the push rods and in all likelihood has been into the cam chest. But the only real way to check these things is to pull your cam cover off and take a visual look at those tensioners to see if there's any wear on them. And if you see wear, like I just showed you on those two, they need to be changed. and they need to be changed soon because you do not want them to come apart. They will destroy your engine, and they call it a catastrophic engine failure when those little pieces of polyurethane or whatever they are run through your motor. It absolutely destroys it. So I just figured I'd touch on that a little bit and just kind of let people know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. They work. They really do work. I mean, I changed mine 3 times before I went over to the hydraulic, and I didn't change mine till almost 50,000 miles, and I've got well over 100,000 miles on my bike. And the one guy that I had spoke about on the last video, Lucky, that he took that bike down to from New Hampshire down to Tennessee. He has over 100,000 miles on that bike. So I mean, that's why I was so happy for the guy. I mean, he does good maintenance on his bike, and that was a bike that he had bought used, but it was well taken care of, and he has kept up on the maintenance and made it just as good. And they are still reliable, like I said in the last video. Harley Davidson makes the only motorcycle around that if it is maintained, you can have a 70-year-old daily rider. And I know of no other motorcycle company that has produced an engine that is that reliable. But maintenance is the key. And if you have one of these twin cams that are between 99 and 06, checking those tensioners is part of your maintenance. You need to check them at, where you're comfortable, but no later than 20,000 miles. I used to check mine at 15. In fact, I didn't check them. I just changed them at 15,000. So that'll pretty much do it for today. I hope this video helps somebody. I thank everybody for watching, and everybody be safe out there.